Welcome back, everybody. This is Tyler Wiebe from Pro Physique, and today we're going to talk about whether you should train to failure or not. Alright, everybody, welcome back. It is Friday, end of the week. I hope you have all had a fantastic week and you have a fantastic weekend planned. I know I am quite excited about the weekend because that always means it's refeed time. So Friday, Saturday, get some extra carbs, and we're at the point where I have been planning these since Wednesday. Yes, that is how excited I am getting about my refeed days. We got some pancakes planned, we got some burgers, fries. I'm excited, but anyways, that is not what we are here for today. So today I wanted to talk about training to failure. So this is something that I always make sure that I put a little disclaimer in my programs that I send to my clients, and that we do not always want to be training to failure. So the idea of training to failure is that you are taking the muscle each and every set to a point where you cannot complete another rep, right? So the idea is that you're pushing it so much that you are activating all the muscle fibers, and that therefore you are going to have greater hypertrophy, so greater muscle building. And so this is something that, naturally that a lot of people would like to do. But should you actually train to failure all the time? Now, note that, all the time. No, you should not be training to failure on every single exercise, basically all the time. Why? Well, because it actually can hinder your recovery in between sets. And so therefore, you will not actually be able to lift as much weight as you would have if you had not gone to failure, right? So we know total volume is going to be the king for determining strength and hypertrophy, right? So if you can do more volume, you're going to have greater hypertrophy and you're going to have greater strength. So if you are always training to failure, you are probably, and studies have shown this, you are going to have to decrease the weight in following sets. So let's say set one you do 50 pounds. Well, chances are if you go to failure, you're probably going to have to maybe go down to 45 pounds, and then you go to failure again, and so you can see how the weight will probably tend to decrease. Or you are going to find yourself doing less and less reps as you go on. So even if you keep the weight the same, so 50 pounds, and let's say you get, first set you do 15, well, you might only get 10, and then you might only get 5. And so you can see how the volume would decrease quite significantly if you were to just do, let's say, 50 pounds for 3 sets of 10, right? You are going to get more volume over those sets than you would by having to consistently decrease your reps. And so you can see that by going to failure all the time, you are going to have a much less greater overall volume throughout the session and throughout the week, which is actually going to really hurt your goals of strength and or hypertrophy. Now, this is not to say that going to failure needs to be completely taken out of the program. I do like having some exercises taken to failure, usually in a drop set manner. So the way that I'll set that up is, one, there won't be a lot of it. It might be 1, maybe 2 of the body parts per week, and it'll always be at the end of a training session. So it'll usually be a single joint, not a multi-joint, so not something like squats or leg press or anything like that. It'll be more like a dumbbell lateral raise or a bicep curl or leg extension. So something that the risks of injury are quite low, and form isn't going to be the most important thing. And we'll always, like I said, put it at the end of a workout. So it'll maybe look like 3 sets of 15, let's say leg extensions, and then you're going to drop weight 60, 50%, and go to failure. So they do get that extra little push, which can help with hypertrophy, but they aren't completely taxing themselves to where that they cannot perform all the other sets with 100% intensity. So it does take a little bit of figuring out, it does take a little bit of planning, but you can still include training to failure in your sessions, and I think it does have its place. But like I said, you cannot be taking every single set to failure. So what should you do? What is a good measure for all of your other work? Well, I really like using the reps in reserve. So what that is you always leave a certain amount of reps in reserve by the end of each set. So for most hypertrophy work, because you aren't really going to be testing your 1 rep max and then setting percentage for your accessory work. So like for example, you're not going to test your 1 rep max on a dumbbell bicep curl, be like, okay, I need to do 80% of that for 8 to 12 reps. A good way of doing that is using the reps in reserve. So a really, really good rule of thumb is always leaving 1 to 2 reps in the tank at the end of each set. So you aren't taking it to full failure, but if you were to do 2 reps, 2 more reps, you would be right near that failure mark. So that is what I'll always kind of put in my programs, is always leave, you always just stay shy 1 or 2 reps. So that is a great way to measure the intensity for your accessory work. Now, most of your compound movements, your main lifts, should have weight progressions with intensities. You should test some type of rep max with those. Those really shouldn't be taken to failure ever, just because of the complexity of the lifts, of the intensity of the lifts, and how the higher risk of injury of those lifts, the closer you get to failure, goes up quite a bit, and that becoming injured is not something that we want. So use training to failure sparingly. Use it on simple movements like dumbbell bicep curls, hammer curls, whatever. Lateral raises, things like that. Leg extensions is a fantastic one to really get a great quad burn at the end of your workout. And always try and put it at the end of your workout, right? It should be your last exercise for that body part of the day, so you are not fatiguing yourself for the rest of the workout. And try it maybe in a drop set manner. So, make sure you still get your volume in, 3x15 for leg extensions, and then maybe do a drop set to failure to really burn out the session. All right, guys, that is going to be everything for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to just leave that down below or shoot me an email at tyler@prophysique.com. Have a fantastic weekend.